Hi, I'm Josh, the dad of hobbies. Today's hobby, Jurassic Park. I recently rewatched the entire franchise, all seven films, if you can believe it. There's actually, I found in doing this, a couple animated shows. There were some shorts. I didn't watch any of that stuff, but there was apparently a lot more to this franchise than I initially realized. I just watched the movies because I figured that was enough. This is arguably one of the most successful movie franchises, certainly in the last 30 years, if not ever, which is odd because most of these films kind of suck. Let's start off with the first one. We'll go through each of them. The original Jurassic Park, I think, is one of the greatest films of all time. I think what Spielberg did cinematically, I think with the CGI that they had at the time, and it still holds up. The characters. Does the movie have some pretty obvious plot holes with the T Rex? Yes. Does the movie make paleontologists cry with the inaccuracies? Absolutely. But it's such a good and fun film. This is a blockbuster in every sense of the word. This is exactly what you would want from a dinosaur movie. The movie just does such a good job of introducing characters that you care about, of giving you really fun plot, of having really big moments of terror, especially in animation. And it gets to the point that it truly was trying to make of what we as humans should be doing versus what we could be doing, and it does it really well. And of course, let's not forget that for those who only know Jeff Goldblum as the goofy Uncle Grandpa character, he is now man had massive sex appeal in the 90s. Good for him. Jurassic Park, first one, I could watch over and over and over again. And if by some miracle you have not seen it yet, please go watch it. It's incredible. Then you get The Lost World sequel. And this was also a book. Crichton wrote the book pretty much right after I think the first movie came out. It's fine. It's to me a little bit silly. You sort of lose the point of where the movie started, which is about Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum coming back to rescue his girlfriend and save some of the dinosaurs. There's a really nice line in there that Malcolm says to Hammond.
So you went from capitalist to naturalist in just 4 years.
It's a nice zinger line. The rest of the movie is just kind of, dinosaurs through LA. It's fine. It's got some action to it. I just don't care all that much. They brought Ian Malcolm back because obviously he was such a popular character in the first film, and Sam Neill had no interest in doing the sequel. But I don't think there's anything incredibly exciting about the film in terms of plot or character, right? It's just dinosaurs running around. Then you get Jurassic Park 3. It's funny, I actually think this story is better, but it was just executed poorly. So this is about a family who is sightseeing on the dinosaur island several years after the first film. And basically the kid gets stuck, gets stranded, and the family hires Alan Grant, Sam Neill, to rescue the kid under the pretenses that they will pay him and fund his research, and it turns out that they actually don't have any money whatsoever. It's to me a better story than the second film only because putting a kid in danger is inherently has stakes to it. There's something there, and watching Sam Neill do anything on screen is always a joy. Other than that, there's not much to the film. I didn't mind it. A lot of people really didn't like it. It definitely suffers from that third film trilogy, drop, as many trilogies end up having. But it's fine. Again, I liked it a little bit better because I think it had a more substantial plot than Lost World, but there's not much to it, right? And it was pretty clear that Universal agreed because they didn't make another one for 30 years, right? So fast forward, then you get Jurassic World. I liked Jurassic World. I think that they did a good job. It was very clear that the folks behind Jurassic World wanted to reinvigorate the franchise. They wanted to make a Jurassic Park movie for the new generation. You could tell that the guys that made Jurassic World grew up on Jurassic Park. The problem is that inherently the plot of the movie doesn't work when you just watched three movies that tell you how dumb it is to make a theme park full of dinosaurs. And so you go into the movie knowing not only what's going to happen, but not being excited or caring all that much. Chris Pratt, however you may feel about the actor, does a good job and shows that he cares about the dinosaurs, which obviously you want. He shows that he is invested in the I think the velociraptors, right, that he was caring for. It's fun. It's exciting. It's arguably of the four I've mentioned so far, the second best film. But you sort of knew what was going to happen when you walk in, and sometimes that's okay. I go to a Jurassic Park movie to watch dinosaurs. I get that that's about the level of which I'm going to get. I just feel like there was not as much thought put into changing or getting through to the next stage of what that message could be, as opposed to just rehashing the concept 30 years later. And everyone in the movie sort of questions, well, wait, didn't this go poorly the last time? And yeah, but we got it now. But do you? Right. Then you get Fallen Kingdom, which I actually think is the worst film in the entire franchise, mostly because it was sort of pointless. It basically they tried to go rescue some of the dinosaurs because the island that they're on is going to erupt into a volcano, and in doing that rescue, it turns out that the dinosaurs are actually being sold on the black market for other reasons that were sort of unclear, and then they have to go to some mansion in California to rescue them. It gets really muddy. It doesn't make sense. So Fallen Kingdom is aptly named because that's really to me where the franchise fell. Then you get the third movie in the Jurassic World trilogy, this sort of next set here, which is Dominion. I really like Dominion. So Dominion brings back Alan Grant. It brings back Sam Neill. It brings back um, Lauren Dorn. It brings back Jeff Goldblum. The point of this movie was to work through how the consequences of the dinosaurs existing is now affecting us economically, socially, globally, ethically, right? It touches on a lot of the things that, frankly, I wanted the first Jurassic World film to do. And if you were to watch the first Jurassic Park film, then Jurassic World, then Dominion, you actually get a great trilogy. Dominion is a really good film, and it does what I again thought was World was going to do. The problem is that Dominion as a franchise ender just doesn't work. It doesn't give you that satisfied feeling of, wow, they really put the heart and soul into the story. And I get it, right? It's 30 plus years after the first film was made, but I wish Dominion got more credit or more thought or had just been plotted better, because if they could have done with Dominion where what they did with it three movies earlier, I think it would have been great. Now, last year, there was a seventh Jurassic Park film because people either aren't learning in the universe about dinosaurs or in the real world about making movies that they shouldn't. So then you get Jurassic World Rebirth. This stars completely new cast. You get Jonathan Bailey, Scarlett Johansson. The plot of the film is set several years after Dominion. Basically, the Earth is uninhabitable for dinosaurs. Who could have told you that? Oh, wait, it's set in the first 10 minutes of Jurassic Park.
Dinosaurs and man, two species separated by 65 million years of evolution, have just been suddenly thrown back into the mix together. How can we possibly have the slightest idea of what to expect?
And the dinosaurs sort of moved all to the equator. There's a bunch of islands along the equator that they moved to, and a pharmaceutical company hires a mercenary, Scarlett Johansson, and a paleontologist, Jonathan Bailey, who's out of work, and several others to go extract DNA or something from a couple dinosaurs to make medicines for people to get heart cures or something, right? It's a very thin plot. Right? It doesn't matter. The point is dinosaurs. It's fine. I get what they were doing. They were just trying to go in a different direction, sort of make an offshoot, simple adventure action film with dinosaurs. Here's the problem with this film. It's not the plot. The plot can be as thin as it wants. It's a dinosaur movie. The characters of this film, which is where your movie should lie, you are inherently meant to root for at least the core team. Scarlett Johansson's character, Jonathan Bailey, and Mahershala Ali is one of the other guys, right? But they were hired by a pharmaceutical company, right? So I'm supposed to feel bad and empathize and get into and really invest in a $1 billion+ pharmaceutical company trying to exploit dinosaur DNA to then make a cure that they're going to sell for millions of dollars and not most people will get. And If you think I'm making that up or going too harsh, it's literally a line in the film.
What if we don't?
What if we don't what?
Well, what if we get the samples and we don't give them over to a company that makes a life-saving drug and then prices it so 99% of the planet can't afford it? Science is for all of us, not some of us. Have you thought about that?
And because these characters never really shift around from not, they don't rise up against the guy, sort of a little bit at the end, but there's not really a big point where they're ethically questioning everything. In fact, Scarlett Johansson's character literally shuts him down when he makes that science line. They also introduce a father with two daughters, and one of the older daughters has a boyfriend, like a family just on a leisure sail. Basically, they're boating around where the dinosaurs are, and they introduce them because they have to introduce some sort of ethically, morally ambiguous situation for these mercenaries and pharmaceutical guy to then act upon to show that they have some level of humanity. And it not only takes you out of the film entirely, but it's just pretty painful to watch. Like, okay, you knew halfway through writing this film that we weren't going to care about these capitalist schmucks. So then we have to introduce a purely innocent family with two daughters that is going to get into trouble somehow for some reason that you are going to have to help or not. And therefore, the real villain is, humans were the monsters all along type thing, right? It's just so over the top. It's just so ham-fisted. And I want to enjoy the fact that they're being chased by dinosaurs and look at the CGI and all that. But that is all set dressing for the ridiculousness that these characters go through. And it just doesn't work. It just doesn't make any sense. This movie actually did fairly well, box office wise anyway. It didn't quite hit $1 billion, but it got pretty close and on a pretty limited budget. It's not as bad to me as Fallen Kingdom, but it's not great. And I don't really get what the point of this movie was. This movie wasn't needed. It doesn't bring back any of the characters we like. It doesn't touch on any of the plot points about developing dinosaurs. There's just nothing here that matters. That's it. And I don't care about the characters. Even Jonathan Bailey's character, who's supposed to be the good-hearted ethical scientist guy, he more than once goes forward with the mission to get the DNA or whatever they're trying to pull. It doesn't. I just don't care, right? And that's sort of where I felt with this. It was not a rebirth of the franchise for me, right? Maybe you felt differently, fair enough. So for me, it's Jurassic Park, the original. Jurassic World is pretty good. Dominion is really fun if you don't think of it as a franchise ender, and the rest can go the way of the dinosaurs. So that's it. That's my review of the entire franchise. If you've seen them all, feel free to let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Which one's your favorite? Which one did you like the least? Did you disagree with me on anything? Let me know. And of course, feel free to like, follow, subscribe to see what hobby we get into next. Thanks so much.